Alright, so for Miss Dison, we're going to need to get into our web browser history. And so I need to show you how to get in there and get in there from terminal. So the first thing we're going to need to do is get into the Mozilla, which is just a hidden file in the user's home directory. So we're going to go cd to our home directory, and you see I found it already. And if you want to look for the hidden files, you can actually, well, tab complete them. So we're going to go Mozilla, and then we're going to get into Firefox. And once we're here, we're going to ls. All right, so now this one right here is the folder that has our actual history in it. So this is for the higher level challenges that you actually have to get into the proper folder. So I'm going to cd into this VX. It might look different depending on the version of Firefox they're using. So I'm going to ls this, and we're going to see we have databases. So if I were to actually look at my database, this is where I would find my actual history. But for this exercise, I'm putting together something that is right up here. We're going to look at the SPY traffic history to see what the most visited site is. So to do that, we're going to open up SQLite. So 3, and then we need to put what database we're using, because there's more than one database. So I'm just going to say SPY, and just let that autocomplete with the tab. Enter, and now I'm in this. So the language is different when you're in the SQL database. We're going to test to see if we're actually reading this or not, if it's successful. So we're going to test that with tables, and we're going to see that we have one table, it's browsing history, and if we want to see what all is contained in that browser history, we're going to use this command because it works. It'll tell us that we only have, 4 fields here. We have an ID, a URL, a timestamp, and a status code, whether it was successful or not. Your actual history is going to have a lot more than this, but because we're just learning how to run some basic commands here, we're using synthetic information or data, we'll get there. All right, so next thing we're going to do is we're just going to test to see if we have browser history here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select literally anything from the browsing history. And then I'm going to limit this, and I'm just going to look at the last 1,000. So 1,000, and then you have to put a semicolon in the end so it tells the SQL that you're actually going to run that command. Otherwise, it'll look for another command. So I hit enter, and you can see, okay, so we have our ID number, we have our URL, we have our timestamp, and we have time and date stamp, and we're going to have our code. So 200, 202, the status codes are also synthetic. Realtor.com didn't exist. Obviously, that's a lie. So to get out of it, we're going to just hit period quit, and that gets us back into terminal. But we're not there yet, so we want to just take a quick look at what the highest number in this entire data set is. And what we're going to do is basically, let's type it out. So select the URL, and the count can be any, and then if we just hit enter here, it'll just say, what do you want to do next before you run it. So we're just going to group by URL, and then we're going to order by visit count, and descending so we can see this one's at the top. And then we're just going to limit this. We're going to limit this to our top 100. No, let's go top 10. So our top 10 sites visited, Drum roll. Doesn't like it. Pause and find out. All right, after a little bit of investigation, a little bit of coffee, we got here. So what I needed to do was get to a different, well, I'm using a different version of SQLite. So I just need to select URL, count. I'm going to count the URL. So last time I had an asterisk in there, I can't do that. So I just need to say count the URL. And I'm making a variable here. So then from the browsing history, cool, tab complete, group, yeah, no. By the URL. So I'm making groups of the URL, and now I want to order them. Visit count, which is that parameter I made at the cap. And then, yeah. I'm going to try this. And then limit to 100. Yeah, I don't like it. All right. All right. I like that. There we go. All right, so now we got the whole thing, and we have these in order, and we can see went to Google 6 times, went to NFL and NHL pretty equal times, went to, and guess where the SPY goes. So we go up the top, and we can see that the SPY went to the SPY Museum 250 times. All right, so Kludgy, I make mistakes. It happens a lot, actually. So don't be concerned about making mistakes and figuring out, going back, cycling through, and solving the problem. Good luck with that. It's the easier of the two. Make another video to go through the harder of the two.